Hi guys, welcome in Line by Line. Today we have our guest Shane with us. Hello Shane.
Hello. Gals and guys.
And Manuel.
Hey.
Yes, most reverend.
We are analyzing one of my favorite songs from a TV show called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. And it's called A Boy Band Made Up of 4 Joshes. So, Shane, do the honors.
Yes, every girl's dream. 4 boys named a boy band made up of 4 Joshes.
Well, just to tell you, it's one boy named Josh, but she attaches to that one boy many roles at once. Like just
yes,
that's as a context. So
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Girl, I know things haven't always been easy for you. Kids were mean and your daddy walked right out the door too. Maybe we should have a session, address your anxiety and depression, because I got a funny feeling if we do, baby, you can kiss all your childhood traumas goodbye. You're never going to miss all that stress you've been keeping inside. All your psychological problems, girl, we're going to solve them because we're not just a boy band made up of 4 Joshes. We're also a team of licensed mental health professionals. We'll help you understand the reasons that your mom made you sad and why every man you date is a stand-in for your dad. We'll stop revisiting your fears once we wipe away your tears. Trust us, girl, your prognosis isn't bad. Baby, you can kiss all your unexplained symptoms goodbye. You're never going to miss all those nightmares in which you tend to die. We'll get you through those developmental stages that you've been stuck in for ages, because we're not just a boy band made of 4 Joshes. We're also a team of nationally recognized mental health professionals trained in cognitive behavioral therapy with specialties in personality and sleep disorders and love. And love.
I love that song. I encourage, the link will be below. I encourage you guys to watch it. It's made in a 80s boy band style. I think NSYNC, that was they were trying to copy, or Backstreet Boys, one of those bands.
Yeah. It's Backstreet Boys for sure.
Yeah. Okay, Manuel.
Backstreet Boys as mental health professionals.
Yeah, if anybody wants to join my band.
Oh God.
If anybody wants to have a band of 4 Manuels.
Yeah, I can tell you one of me is
Isn't that called Alice in Chains? I feel like that would be.
I don't know.
Anyway.
Cool. I know things haven't always been so easy for you. Kids were mean and your daddy walked right out the door too. Yes.
So that's entrance point is daddy issues. So that's her problem.
One of her problems, yes.
Right. Not even, I don't even know if it's necessarily the root problem here. I don't know, but she's in for it.
Manuel?
I think it's setting up the stage for a girl that doesn't have a home, right? Like she doesn't have safety that she can relate to, right? If kids were mean, then that's your social environment. If daddy's gone, that's your home environment, right? Like you don't have stability, and then you just end up in a not so good place.
Yep. This is true.
Well, he addresses her in an endearing way. Girl, I know things always have been easy for you. So he's like comes from the place of understanding, And again, the song is sung by imaginary Josh, that she projects onto her boyfriend all these qualities, right? And yeah,
Animus. Right.
yeah, starts with very understanding and like basically I feel so sorry for you. And yeah.
Yeah, he's saying what she wants to hear.
Yes. But Shane, you correctly pointed out that the thing that is almost at the beginning, your daddy walked right out of the door too. I think it's one of the Joshes now in her head. Is the one that fulfills the father role, the endearing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because she would start out. She would definitely start out with that. I mean, to interact with the social world, something I was learning is that like fathers are the example of how to interact with the barrier between like just what I was reading is that like between like the other for a boy is woman and the other for a woman is society as such, and the man kind of shows her how to engage in like reciprocal relation. Like does that resonate?
Yeah, like fathers mean a lot to not only to girls but to everybody. It's this important figure, and when the father walks out of the door too, you already can see the problem starting up. Let's say.
Yes.
Maybe we should have a session. Address your anxiety and depression. Because I got a funny feeling. If we do, baby, you can kiss all your childhood traumas goodbye. I guess that's the line that we add there.
Good call.
You could have left that open. Let's start with your anxiety and depression, because if we do, ooh.
Oh, that would have been good.
You can imagine that awesome pickup line in a bar. I know kids were mean to you at school. Let's address your anxiety and depression. And if you do.
Right.
I have the best treatment.
I got a PhD, and y'all know what that stands for. So I'm just gonna shut up now before I finish that joke.
Pretty hard.
Yeah.
I just what?
Nodrik's never heard that.
No.
Close your ears. The guys are gonna.
Okay, now I heard it. Now I cannot unhear it.
Yeah.
It's a reference to e-penis. Anyway, so
precise.
Wow.
Thank you. Open.
Yeah, so there's a diagnosis there, anxiety and depression.
Yes.
In that session, apparently magic is going to happen, because she's like, goodbye to all the bad things. So there's magical qualities in this boy band.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a magical. It's like the best. He's promising her the best psychological help you can imagine. Once this session is over, which is impossible, all your symptoms are gone. Everything's gone.
Everything is absorbed by the PhD.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Isn't that whatever her problems are was too much to put on one George? So she imagined there's 4 of them.
I was connected to the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. It seems like the other side of the coin.
Oh my God.
Like, it's like one half of the archetype. And then
The four members of the boy band or the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I don't know what to choose.
Oh, man.
I think it's not how she means it. It was a classical reference to the boy band that she did not see in the 80s. And because her daddy left, and now she's always kind of projecting cure onto the next boy she meets. Like, so he will be everything that. Plus, in her head, he's interested in her problems, which is it's not the case, girls, normally. If you meet a guy who is very much interested in your childhood problems and addresses your anxiety and depression, that's a keeper.
Mm-hmm. This is true. This is true. I always try and fulfill that archetypal role. Not always successfully. Like I feel like, I don't know, that's what you try and you have to be a human being and like say how you actually, like, you have to be a human being, but also like if you can get the crux of the, like, if you can embody it really, then I think like you should as much as you can, but I'm definitely like learning, like I try and do everything, but I don't know.
You
How,
can't do everything.
Yeah.
We're only human after all.
True.
Nice plug.
And well after dark. You're only human.
You're never gonna miss all that stress you've been keeping inside, all your psychological problems. Girl, we're gonna solve them. So I read it the first time and I skipped over the word never in my mind. So that's interesting because I like that line, right? Like, you're gonna miss the stress, right? Like, that would be interesting because it's like, oh, right, like this way of being, and now it's absent, right? Like, now there's this new thing. It's like, oh, I want to go back to the familiar, but he's like, no, like, just like magic, poof, it's all gone.
Yeah, and you're never gonna miss it either. Not only is it all gone, but you're never gonna. I think there are some things in like your life that applies to. Like, that's a signature of health for me. Like when somebody stops doing something bad, and not only like, I think you can be like a little bit begrudging about having to stop it, but ultimately like you push through. And even there's some things like in my life that aren't at the place where if they were gone, I wouldn't miss them. But if they were gone, I shouldn't miss them. If it's difficult because like part of me, okay, so part of me is like, oh, if these things are bad, besides me in my mind making them categorically bad, I shouldn't miss them, but I'm not the master of reality, so I don't know if they're wholly bad and if I should miss them. But we'll just say there's some things that, yes, should be gone and you shouldn't miss them. And that would be proper.
I think she fell in love, and she's not as much as fell in love as ran into this romantic relationship in order not to have this stress, in order to forget about it. Like, this is denial in a sense, right? Like, she doesn't really want to deal with it, but she just wants to be in love. And so that's why she's projecting the therapist on that boy, who is absolutely in the movie is not in any way interested in solving her mental issues. So she's just imagining it. So basically masking all her psychological problems with this infatuation, or like feeling of being attracted to that guy, I think.
Yeah. No more pain is the goal, right? And love is said, it's quipped that it covers a multitude of sins, and it feels different than what you might think that scripture means, but yeah, that's the idea. It's the heal all. But
because we're not just a boy band made up of 4 Joshes. We're also a team of licensed mental health professionals. Yeah, it's like you just run in and like, well, I got my dream and I got what I need at the same time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Nodrik was saying about this thing, right? Like getting lost in love, right? Like I do think like, oh yeah, like if they're also mental health professionals, then it's okay, right? Like then I can get lost because they take on my responsibility. Like they'll take care of me.
Yeah, I would argue that like insofar as these are actually a part of her psyche, then she's doing the work anyway. If she's got an inner, if she's got inner boy band licensed clinical therapist, she's probably already doing some crazy inner work, you know, like
sexual inner work.
If I remember TV show correctly, she was doing actual work with an actual psychologist, but then she fell in love and she dropped the psychology treatment. So she kind of lied to herself that all her psychological problems will be solved by dating this guy, and she drops the psychologist at that moment. Spoiler alert. I did not watch Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Awesome TV show, by the way. I absolutely recommend it.
Okay. Right. I will watch it. I will watch it with my
absolutely normal, not crazy current.
Yeah.
It's a musical. It's for people who like musicals, right? Like this one is precisely why I love it so much. It's musical. Like there is more than 100 songs in the entire TV show. And it's actually written by mental health professionals, and they absolutely delve into psychological problems, like one by one. Like the entire TV show is taking apart all her psychological problems. It's awesome.
Oh.
I really love it. Yeah.
Man, that's cool.
We'll help you understand the reasons that your mom made you sad and why every man you date is just a stand-in for your dad.
Yeah, that's a standalone. We'll understand the reasons that your mom made you sad and why every man you date is just standing for your dad. I've noticed, I could get personal, but like I've definitely noticed there's a huge connection with like women being like feeling like they're doing better than their mother and feeling horrid guilt about that and not wanting to surpass like their like mom in like positive, like in emotionality in general or in like self-acceptance. Like they feel like that's doing their mom, they irrationally think it's doing their mom like, yeah, they just feel horrible guilt for doing better like emotionally, and it's sick. But that's just my recent thinking.
That's an interesting observation, actually. Like she in the TV show, she's trying not to live her mom's dream. Like her mom made like, you will be a lawyer, because her mom could not be a lawyer because her mom had her and she had to drop out of the law school. So she put her daughter through the law school, and the daughter dropped out of the law school. And like it's a kind of cycle in there, and there is truth in it, right? Like she did not want to live out her mom's dream, but she also did not live up to her mom's dreams at the same time. It was interesting. What do you think, Mana?
Well, yeah, so assuming that it's not actual the actions of the mom, right? Like spanking her or grounding her that made her sad. It's there's an element of of projection going on there, right? Where, and I think that's relating to the point Shane is making, right? Like my mom is needs this of me, right? Like, and if in Shane's example, it's like, well, if you go over this imaginary boundary, then mom gets upset. And it's like, well, like, first of all, like, do you know where that boundary is? And secondly, do you know that she'll actually get upset, right? But if you treat those as real, like, you'll get sad. And well, yeah, every man you date is a stand-in for your dad, right? Like, there's this dad-shaped hole in your heart that you want to fill. And well, men look like dads, right? So they can fulfill that function somewhat. And depending on how much you latch onto it, right? Like you're actually gonna drag and how much maturity you have, right? Like how much self-development you have, like how much self-sufficiency you have. You're gonna have that dependency projected on him.
Yes, yes. I once had a girl. We hung out, and then we were texting like right after, and she said, I said like, thanks for having me over, and she's like, no, thank you for professional Freudian reasons. And I did not inquire, but I imagine I imagine.
I see.
Ce n'est pas une pipe.
I imagine something along the lines of.
Did you look like her dad?
Huh? Honestly, I don't think I saw a picture of her dad, which might explain it.
Oh my god. Oh, damn it. Okay. I don't know. Like, is it the same for guys or not?
So there's been times where I was like running.
Sorry, like I just thought it's just legit fair questions. Like for me, I absolutely agree. I don't agree with the mom make me sad thing. Yeah, but why every guy did is a stand-in for that? Yeah, absolutely. I required from all the guys I dated, I required to be those big guys who can carry me around and feel safe. That's the memory from childhood that I attached to father. Yeah.
Yeah, I think for men, it's like your mom is how you view women, right? And if you don't have a way to view women outside of your mom, right? Like you need to grow out of that, right? And if you start dating without having gone through that, then like I assume yes, right? Like you're gonna treat women as your mom, right? And then obviously not in the intentional level, right? But like you're gonna expect them to act in certain ways, and that action is gonna be based upon your mom.
Is for example a guy asking a woman to choose clothes for him?
Can you wipe my ass?
Yes. Is it that thing? I think it's like I read somewhere, a big part of growing up for a guy is to choose his own clothes, and like that is really important. Like Yeah, Shane,
Yes,
what do you think about
mom
that?
meddling is bad.
I was doing that for a long time. I like
Choosing your own clothes?
choose my own clothes. I can't remember a time where I didn't choose my own clothes.
Oh,
So,
that's interesting. Mhm.
and yeah, I think like I remember my dad told me, I guess they were like, I either overheard them, like, or my dad said that they were talking behind my back and was like, oh yeah, oh no, I think I was sleeping and I heard him be like, oh yeah,
Oh my
Shane's,
God.
I
He
was
was
sleeping.
just dreaming, guys.
No. Like Shane
Yeah.
was sleeping and parents entered Shane's room and started talking on top of him.
Oh my God, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then a dragon just came in the door and said hi to me. No, that's not what happened. My dad basically said that I was going to be like fine.
Yeah.
Like
Awesome.
when I was like, oh, like I don't know. I feel like I've always had a good handle on like my projections, especially being intentional with my projections towards women has always is always intentional, and that I think
Okay.
is important. But yeah,
I just accepted mine. Like I was like, oh yeah, that's the daddy thing again. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like for example, in here is like why your mom makes you sad, and for you, do your dads make you sad, guys?
Only
Projections.
when I speak with him.
What's that, Manuel? On here.
No,
It's
just
a
making
joke.
an
It's a
awful
joke. It's a very personal.
There's sometimes where I feel like I hit that imaginary line and I'm like, oh, like my dad wants to beat me down type feeling. Like, but it's not, I know that wasn't his legitimate behavior towards me. It might have been, you know, a passing, like, because my dad, he like, he's done some stuff and he's literally the highest self-esteem of anyone I've ever met. Like he takes care of himself and but
You're proud of him.
yes, I'm extreme beyond what I can like push my emotions to feel towards him is how I feel towards him in that respect. Like
Wow,
very
that's awesome.
yeah. I really
It's really good to get this energy from strong roots. I always imagined like our parents and grandparents. If I were a tree, that my parents would be my roots. And if I'm proud of them, I'm nurtured by this strong energy from both mom and dad, right? And yeah. So if you feel that nurturing within you, if you're proud, then this means you have a strong male presence in your core, basically. This means you will be a go-getter, Shane. You're proud of it.
I am.
So yeah, to go back to my silly joke, I do have issues with dealing with the limitations of my dad. So when I run into him not being able to participate in a certain way, I have a hard time dealing with it. Which might actually be because I'm taking things for granted, right? Or
I think you have just high standards, Manuel.
Oh yes, I definitely have high standards.
If I would do that, I would be really upset. I'm recognizing humans in my parents, so I'm just like seeing them as those humans. I do not attach any other things to them as they are. Like they're just like, oh, let me learn what kind of person you are. Let me just know you better. And then I'm like trying to understand them, and then that's it.
Yeah, that reminds me, like I've always had really high capacity people around me.
Yeah,
Probably because I look for them, right? So
you do have
yeah.
high standards. That's recognized.
Yes.
Shane, you were going to say something?
So that could be like, you know, do you think that was a like oh gosh, it's called enantiodromia when something goes too far in one direction, it starts to, do you think like it's your dad didn't have high standards and you're like, oh, like screw that, I'm not like, or do you not think that's
No, my dad didn't have high standards for me at all.
and you can take this out. I don't like
No, it's fine. Like,
okay.
we're talking about daddy issues, right?
And I know Manuel's dad watches this podcast, so
Yeah. Can I tell you guys one experience I had with?
yes.
So it had to do with. It's basically what like got me not entirely so into psychology. My dad, the first thing he like showed me was like the ABCs of emotions of like cognitive behavioral therapy. Like that was his big teaching to me, like, oh, your emotions affect how you're thinking, and thinking affects how you act, and there's this like circuitous relationship happening. And but the other thing that got me into psychology was when I finished or was right in the middle of basic combat training, when I did like little stint in the army, I went home, and the night I got home, I had a night terror of this just like skull in front of my face, and I woke up like thinking my life was gone, basically, like my soul had been eaten. And I woke up and I like walked up to my dad. I'm like 18, between 18 and 20. I think I was like 18, and like walked up to my dad like I was like 4, like scared. And I was like, Dad, I had the worst experience. And he walked me outside and he was like, you don't have to do anything like that you really don't want to do. And I saw like this light in front of me, and I swear he became like Mufasa to me. It was like that feeling. And then he said something else that like dropped my feelings down to the opposite. And he became
Oh my God.
he became hell itself for a second until I like calmed myself down and realized he was a human. And like, and that archetypal like moment kind of like changed my perspective. And I hadn't read, like I sort of kind of knew like Jung like in my gut, but like I hadn't like actually learned about him. But that's what got me into him.
We'll stop revisiting your fears once we wipe away your tears. Trust us, girl. Your prognosis isn't bad. That sounds really bad. So, yeah, when a psychiatrist says that to you, it's like, well,
you know, I let him finish the session and then like leave and kind of leave like an honest review, and then go on. Oh, or
So,
just tell me, here's what you did right. Here's where we can improve. We're both getting better. Thank you, sir, for your services. But yeah.
So the first line of that is like, we're gonna stop after you're done crying. So it's like, we're never gonna stop if you keep crying. Like, that sounds horrible. It's like some kind of like heavy exposure therapy, where it's like, okay, like I'm just gonna like expose you to your trauma over and over and over and over again, and if you can handle it, then you're okay.
I'm thinking about revisiting your fears. So she plunges into her fears, she cries, and then he has to take the role of somebody who keeps calming her down. So this means she already knows that the fears will not be gone and she will be revisiting them, but he will be the guy who will always have to kind of comfort her. Yeah, she already in that song knows that it will be going rounds somehow.
Yeah, seems very roundabout. His roundabout way of keeping her in the relationship, the same way psychiatrists keep you in the office by not helping, right? But there's a meme that goes, oh yeah, this was your last session, credit card decline, and then he like tags her with one of her traumas, like so that she's not fixed completely. And I thought that was horrible. But yeah, it seems circuitous. Seems like he's
So the trust us girl, your prognosis isn't bad. Like, it's the prognosis you got to marry the whole boy band so that you never have to revisit the bad parts. Is that the prognosis?
Wait, so what's the difference between a diagnosis and a prognosis, you guys?
Prog is looking into the future. Diagnosis is to look through, so it's seeing what's going on, right? Like, this is what's happening to you. And then the prognosis is, well, can you fix it, right? Like, how do you fix it?
Okay.
Well, like they will be there for her somehow in the future, and they will keep solving her problems.
Yeah, that's probably her like wish fulfillment in this whole dream scenario.
Yeah, baby, you can kiss all your unexplained symptoms goodbye. You're never gonna miss all those nightmares in which you tend to die. Wow. Unexplained symptoms, what are those?
Well, they're not diagnosed.
Yes.
There's no prognosis for them, right? So if we go back to this idea of them doing magic on her, right? Like, if you don't know what you're dealing with, and you can still like make it go away, that's like higher level magic. Yeah, like the dying in the nightmares. I didn't see that one coming, to be fair. I actually don't know what that's referencing to.
Well, I heard referencing in the show. Did she dream of dying in the show at all, or is that made up for the show?
She dreams all sorts of things. So like she's a mess basically. So she's borderline, and like they discover it in the 3rd season. But she goes through manic episodes. She goes like through a lot of things, and she of course has dreams where she dies in all the different ways and stuff like that. Yeah. And this is I think it's unexplained symptoms, right? It is a part of unexplained symptoms. They name it yeah, that's what they say. Like, those dreams are part of the symptoms that haven't been explained yet.
So is it the end of like, it's almost the end of like the process of death and rebirth, because you're just in a stasis, right? If you have these boys like just like doing, I don't know, either doing all the work or whatever, you're kind of in this stasis where there's no more dying. Like, you know, death is gone, which is I mean, when the idea is that the savior you know, defeats death, which is cool. But I don't know. I think that's a really interesting like lyric for sure. For sure.
And stasis is a type of death.
Ooh. So she's trading.
Yeah, it's spiritual death, right?
This. This is interesting. Yeah. Because I don't want to die, but I don't want to stay still. That's worse. I think. I don't know.
Well, that's the claim, right?
Yeah.
We'll get you through those developmental stages that you've been stuck in for ages.
Caused by the unexplained symptoms? Yeah.
I think even I think it's a little bit other way around. Like this is actually an answer, right? Like she's stuck in developmental stages, and that would explain the unexplained symptoms. Like she did not go through a developmental stage of let's say correctly bonding with her dad and mom, and so she's stuck in rebellious stage for ages. Like I think that's what they mean, the rebellious stage. Like she keeps having that. But I'm projecting because I have seen the show.
Well, yeah, there's other developmental stages, right? Like the fact that you project, right, like means that you can't separate your emotions from what's happening, right? Like there's a bunch of things, and in some sense they're all connected, right? Because like if you had a healthy relationship with your parents, right, like you would have developed these other things. So it's like, well, which one causes which, and like which one is an actual thing or just a description. But yeah, developmental stages are real in the sense that you need to learn certain things to be able to do other things.
Right. And I think there's a qualitative difference in your life when you're like growing up or getting older in like a healthy way that's numinous compared to, you know, getting whatever is suboptimal. Like there's a qualitative difference when, like you said, they were just a description, and I imagine like, oh, like you are progressing and the description is just what feels better if you're progressing in the right way. Like if you're getting, when you get older, hopefully it will be like this, and that like corresponds to feeling good, I guess. I don't know if that's right, but yeah. So just in, do you guys know Erik Erikson's like 7-stage development?
I don't know anything.
Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Well,
but the problem is, right, like when you go with a model where you say you have to do this in order to get to this, now you're saying, well, things have to work in this way, right? And that's not true for everybody. Right? It's really problematic when you have these models, right? When you start to universalize them for people, or use them as a roadmap for yourself.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, kind of like.
So they're useful, right? Like,
yes,
maybe they're fun to look at, but like maybe just deal with the problem in front of you, right? And then you'll develop.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we are not just a boy band made up of 4 Joshes. We are also a team of nationally recognized mental health professionals trained in cognitive behavioral therapy with specialties in personality and sleep disorders and love.
What an ending.
Yeah. introduction.
So I see a trend throughout the song, right?
Mhm.
So it's becoming more and more absurd, right? Like, so it's going from symptoms to unexplained symptoms, right? It's going
Mhm.
from this boy band to this boy band with like 15 qualifiers, right? So in some sense it's becoming more specific, right? But in some sense she's also uncovering the mess that she has to deal with, and while she's covering the mess, she needs the boy band to be bigger, right? Like, it needs to do more and more and more and more. It's like the dragon in the room that you don't deal with, and it becomes bigger and bigger, and at a certain point you're like, oh wow.
That's an excellent catch, actually. I really like it. Like, she started a little bit, oh, let's escape from my childhood traumas into boy band. And then the boy band, because her childhood traumas overwhelm her, she's like drowning in them. Then she attends nationally recognized trend in cognitive behavioral therapy with specialties in personal and sleep disorders. And then at the end, love, just like to cover it up, like, like a pile of shit and then like flower on top.
Well, they need to be here with her all the time, so they need to be able to love her too.
Right. And there's 4 of them, so that's 8-hour shifts a piece, and you're covering it all.
I'm
8
checking my
hours
math.
shift.
Hold on.
And there's
6
1
hours.
extra. Oh, jeez.
Okay. This is standing. Okay, great.
I know math. Thank you. Oh,
One has to cover during the other people's break. He got a shitty job.
Shane's brain works well.
Right.
She's already very good. No, I never thought of the shift part. They take turns because she's a handful.
And they have to do like the
They
passive.
have to do therapy on each other.
Oh my God. The emotional support group of people traumatized by Rebecca Bunch.
Good.
Oh wow.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So what do we have? We have cognitive behavioral therapy,
Yep.
personality disorders and sleep disorders, and love, which it's strange that she tacked that on, because I get the sense that that's what the whole series is about.
The whole series is actually not about love, but about her trying to go through all of those traumas, actually. Like, the entire TV show, like, she starts with love, but she has to address her emotions and things. And so, yeah, so the entire TV show is a massive psychotherapy for her. Like, it was written by actual psychologists, so it's not bad.
So they know what a woman wants on like at least the psychological level, right?
Yes.
Care. Yeah.
Like a big heads up, the same as you guys.
Grow a massive beard.
There is on a man, yes. Like, women want the same things in general, like literally the same things all the time. So they're not that different.
Yeah. We're more same than different for sure. But like almost, yeah. And I think that works more with like, I don't know, like I rated, like I showed like on this like diagram, it was like out of 10, I had like 3 masculine and 7 feminine like character traits. I was like, hey, that actually probably like I do try and compensate, because I feel like there is an element of like masculinity that I only situationally know how to like appropriately employ it. Like I'm like, oh, let's keep doing this thing that I'm doing. But I don't feel like I work on my masculinity. It's just like something that
You just grow into it, no?
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Maybe you should.
What? No, aren't you just mature with time?
Yeah, I'm doing the things that I like.
How can you mature it on purpose?
Well, doing the things you need to do, I feel like that like engenders a masculine quality to your like psychological, palette. So that's why I do it. And I guess that translates to being, and you can feel it as that translates to being a better man, I guess. But yeah. So this masterclass has been brought to you by Shane. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Master Shane. Let's summarize.
Okay.
Yeah. Projection on individuals that don't partake in your life and have this quality that they can hold the projection for a long time. Probably a bad idea, because you're gonna have a small dragon that will become bigger, bigger, and it's gonna eat you.
Yeah.
You'll need a more elaborate imaginary apparatus to like uphold all these needs.
Well, you don't have to do it.
I would my thing would be like, do not run into a relationship until you solve your problems. Otherwise, you will put a massive burden onto your partner and expect the partner to solve all your problems, right? And love is not an answer. Just like first you have to solve your problems, then you get love. Or like you can always love, but solve your problems, then focus on that. That's my final prognosis for that song.
Right. I think love should be unconditional, but you love people better when you're doing healthier. So it's incumbent on you to be like, oh yeah, she's going to love me regardless, but part of my responsibility is to pick up my damn cross, and bear like a man. And then okay.
Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for free time sponsor. Manuel, thank you for helping us to analyze this awesome song. Guys, subscribe to all the podcasts of Shane and Manuel. Highly advise. Bye.
Thanks, guys. Great. Oh, here, picture of boys.
Nice. Bye.
Baby, you can kiss all your explained symptoms goodbye. You're never going to miss all those nightmares in which you tend to die. Yeah, so fascinating thing, because they're going to unexplain symptoms, right? So